All right, great job, guys. I want to look at this loot council thing, okay? Let me see what this is. Let's see. Wow Reddit. Reddit/wow. They want me to sign a loot Wait, what the fuck is this? Oh, this is funny. No, this is gonna be funny, guys. Trust me. You'll love it. Asmon, you have a smelly pee-pee? Ask your mom. I just applied to a mythic raiding guild, and they want me to sign this loot contract. What's going on? Well, let's find out. Okay. This contract is made. Insert date between the following. Insert raider name. Purpose. Let me actually just open up the picture so you guys can see it better. Purpose. The purpose of this contract is to maintain the agreement between raider listed above and the guild during any organized guild activities. This is really impressive. Guild activities include raids, Mythic Plus, any other occurrences in which there is more than 2 members in a guild in the same party or raid. This contract was brought upon the changes made to the loot distribution methods Blizzard has forced upon all guilds. This change forces all guilds to utilize personal loot regardless of guild preferences. Obligations. While in any organized guild activity, all drops, to include gear, consumables, pets, or mounts, belong to whoever that is, regardless of the acquisition method used. Any loot will be distributed by officers or the GM of whatever the guild is to the members of those persons deemed necessary to have. Penalties. Failure to relinquish any item obtained while in an organized guild activity will result in the immediate removal. Why am I just dead? Whatever. In the immediate removal of that person without any questions. If attempts were made to hide, cheat, or otherwise keep items received via personal loot in an organized guild activity, removal from the guild is subject to leadership decision regardless if the item was handed over for the proper loot distribution. These penalties are not the extent of the rules governed by the leadership of a 1-year forfeiture of... What? A 1-year forfeiture penalty of any guild-related in-game WoW carry gold sales will also be enforced for any member to not removed immediately as means of encouraging all members of the guild to abide to this contract. Contract duration. This contract is in place for as long as the raider mentioned above is in the guild after signing below. The member is instructed to maintain all aforementioned contract obligations regardless of rating status within the guild. Any breach of this contract during its duration is subject to the penalties listed above. Disputes. This contract is governed by the leadership of the guild. Any disputes arising between parties listed above as the result of this contract shall be dismissed at the sole discretion of the GM. Man, I bet this contract was written by the GM. The GM of the guild has the power to disallow any disputes regardless of the validity just because they can. By signing this contract, I understand, consent to, and agree to abide by all conditions stated, or my stay in the guild will be terminated. Now, it says, in accordance with Title 5 of the Rights Act of 2018, Section 15 of the Raiders Union Act of 2018, and the Act of 1337, the Guild of whatever does not discriminate on the basis of sex, race, sexual orientation, national origin, handicap, age, or preference of pineapples on pizza in admission to access to our guild's programs or activities. So, I think this is fake. I think it's funny, but it's fake. I'm pretty sure it's fake. Like, I would assume that it's fake. Like, what do you guys think? Would you agree with that? I mean, I think that somebody put this out there. It's funny. It's really funny. I think it's hilarious. But I just... Let me see what people are saying. They don't force you to join another guild, sure, but a contract, as if this is legally binding. Well, what it is, right... I mean, obviously it's stupid, right? Obviously it's stupid. Never trust a contract that can't spell distributed, right? Master at Mirror was a good idea, some idiot. Yeah. I'm actually amazed that the Master Loot change went through. I thought that it wouldn't. I was actually kind of pretty, like, confident that it wouldn't. And it has. But, I think this is very impressive. I really do. You know what I would do? I would join this guild, I would sign the contract, and then I would just cause trouble. Like, honestly, I would make it my life responsibility to make this guild unpleasant. Right? I would join, and then I would hold on to gear, but, oh, it doesn't let me trade. It doesn't let me trade. And then, they'd want a screenshot, so I'd screenshot it, and I'd Photoshop the screenshot. And like, they'd always be getting mad. They wouldn't be 100% sure. It would just be so funny for me to do. It won't be enforced? Yeah. Well, I can't really get into the guild, because obviously it was probably made up. But, I feel like somebody just took Business Law 1 at community college, and after they finished it and they got an 85 in the class, they're well on their way to being a lawyer, and they figured they'd put this up just to test out their skills. That's the way that it seems like to me. Ally raid on you. Alliance raid is on me? Let me see the Alliance raid. Wow. That's incredible. Huge Alliance raid. Massive. So that's basically what I think it is. I think it's bait. I'm like 95% sure it's bait. And at the 5% chance that it's not bait, well, they're just like, they're dumb, right? And also, I want to, Reddit police is yeah. High level shitpost. Yeah, I think it's pretty good, actually. What if you don't get loot and get it mailed to you? Oh, well, I mean, obviously it doesn't make any sense. But, yeah, I think it's time. It is time. Let me close this. You can track if people have looted a boss. I don't know. But, anyway, there was this one guild that I used to have on my server, and they were called Severity Gaming. And Severity Gaming was probably the shittiest, most terrible guild. Tiger Panda used to be in this guild. It was the most pathetic and terrible guild that I had ever seen in my entire life. And they actually required raiders to sign a contract that they would stay in the guild for 3 months after Severity Gaming paid for their server transfer. It was the most pathetic thing I had ever seen. And it was actually hilarious to me whenever I poached the last members out of their guild and made it fall apart. It was actually, it was the right thing for me to do. It really was. I was glad that I did it. I really was. We would always just like, because like anybody that was good that would join that guild, I would be so happy because I knew I could get them to quit. And they didn't really like me, but that's okay. Well, it wasn't a betrayal. I made it pretty clear that I didn't like them. Because they had originally wanted to make... See, this is actually... Remember how I say if somebody like annoys me or makes me mad, I will never forget it? Well, during the beginning of Cataclysm, whenever my original guild was falling apart, Severity Gaming approached us, and they wanted us to basically be part of their guild. So the GM and I had a conversation about this, and we basically decided... I told him it'd be okay, but he was like, oh, no, none of your members are going to be officers. They basically just wanted to take all of our players, all of our good players, and have us do whatever they wanted us to do. So I thought that was disrespectful, and I didn't like that. And they also said, oh, we don't want you guys saying, like, bad words and stuff like that in, like, the vent channels. I'm like, okay, yeah, fuck you. And I remembered that for like 4 or 5 years until I finally had the opportunity to ruin their guild and finally finish it off, and I did. It took a while, but I got him. That's petty. Well, it's not really about, like, the way that I look at it is that it's fun for me to do that. Like, I legitimately, like, just thinking about it makes me happy. So, is it really petty if I'm happy? I think that sounds great. Like, it always makes me happy whenever I do that. Let me see. Your dad paying your WoW sub. 5 years of bitterness? No, I wasn't really bitter about it. It was just something that I, like... It's like if I walk by a house, right? And I'm like, yeah, this house is, like, blue, right? I'm not thinking about the house being blue all the time. It's just like whenever I walk by it, I'm like, yeah, the house is blue. It's not like I would be sitting around thinking about this guild. It's just whenever I had an option to fuck them over, I would take it because I thought it was funny. That's completely different. So there's another guy in my old guild, and he was what do you call it? He was the guy with the Dragon Spine trophy. And he told me that I couldn't come into the guild and I couldn't do Gruul's Lair. And he wanted to like make it absolutely clear with me that I was too shitty to get DST or roll on it. And he wanted to give it to main raiders, which is something that I was okay with. But the way that he acted towards me made me mad. So I waited, and I was in Burning Crusade. I waited until the end of Wrath of the Lich King, whenever his guild was having trouble. And I convinced enough people out of his guild to quit his guild that it collapsed his guild and he quit the game. There's another time, there was this other guy that I didn't like, and this was also during Burning Crusade. And let's see, what else was that? It was basically the same thing, right? And I never liked this guy. And I remember I would always play against him in arena, and he'd talk shit to me. He was a paladin. And he ran his own guild, and I was making my own guild, and I needed new members. So the best place that I could figure out to get members from would be from his guild. So I just started recruiting everybody out of his guild, and he was really kind of upset about this, and he made a forum post about it, and I was making fun of him, saying how shitty he was, and I was bragging about all the members that I was stealing out of his guild. And I remember I feel like this one forum post was like the end of his guild. I really feel like this, and obviously it probably wasn't, but he says, we're still progressing. And I said, yeah, if you count going backwards. And everybody obviously thought this hilarious, right? And like we always made this like a joke in the guild, right? Because his guild, we took so many members out of his guild, they could no longer kill the bosses that they were able to before because they had to bring in new people that didn't know how to do the fights. So then the last good people that were in his guild said, well, we really, we want to be part of your guild, but also we feel like it's our responsibility to stay in this guild and make sure that, we stick it out with our friend. And I said, okay. But if the guild falls apart, will you join our guild? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, okay. Easy. So I just invite everybody else. We invited other people out of the guild, from that guild, that we didn't even like. I didn't like them. I wasn't going to raid with them. I just invited them, and I was nice to them to make them leave the guild, which would collapse the guild, which would then make the other people that I wanted in the guild join the guild because the guild collapsed, and that was what they wanted to happen. Right? And we collapsed the guild. We took everybody else. And then I actually don't even know what happened to that guild master. I have no idea. I don't even give a fuck. But that was, I don't even know how long ago that was. A long time ago. The story's not fake. Yeah, it's not fake. Like, I can tell the story in like 5 years, and I'll tell it just the exact same way.